is going to be all about hockey. We're going to cover this pretty much blanket hockey, NHL, college hockey right now, Olympic hockey. So if you like hockey, stick around. If you don't, you should. So I am Katie, and I am joined tonight by my fellow classmates and radio extraordinaires. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
My name is Chris Stockdale, and alongside me there is...
What's going on, guys? My name is Daisy Ruth. And in the back, we have Jake, who will be doing a rant segment later on in this evening and every week.
All right. We probably should have just called this first show Amateur Hour, because it's kind of how I feel right now. All right. So I know the Olympics started just a couple days ago. Well, not even really. I mean... Actually, to be quite honest, I didn't even really pay attention to the start of any of the sporting events. I was just kind of caught up in like what happened with the Olympic rings that didn't light up during the opening ceremonies. That was everywhere.
I find it's very hard too, because you find out all the results on social media before sort of the show on TV. So
The 9-hour time difference from Sochi is a lot different than last Winter Olympics 4 years ago in Vancouver. There wasn't that much of a delay. You could see things a lot faster, and it's almost now like you're seeing, like, I know with the snowboarding medal, I think it was, that it was like he won the medal twice. Like, you saw it on Twitter, and then 9 hours later that evening, it was like he won the medal all over again. So
I even thought it was difficult when they were in London 2 years ago. Because I followed gymnastics pretty closely whenever the Summer Olympics were going on, and I was kind of bummed that when everyone was talking about Gabby Douglas winning, and I hadn't even watched it yet. So the time difference is not always the best thing to happen. All right, but anyway, so I guess hockey has started. I was watching. I did not stay up or get up or however early the women's game was, but I was watching the rerun today of the women's game last night against I believe was Sweden? It was Sweden. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 9-0. That was I don't know whether it's pretty impressive or pretty sad. I don't really know which one to go with in that situation.
how many goals did they score in the first period? Wasn't it?
It was 5 goals in the first period, and
Switzerland!
Holy cow!
Close.
we got the first letter right. I don't know. They're all in the Olympics, so it's fine. But yeah, I believe there was a hat trick in the first period in addition to the 5 goals. So and they, I know one of us said earlier that the American team was just skating circles around the Swiss, which was, I mean, it was almost like there was no competition there. I mean, the Swiss didn't even look like an Olympic team compared to the Americans.
And that puts the Americans at 2 wins out of 2 games already, put them in a really good position in the group stage.
Mm-hmm.
They defeated Finland 3-1 on the 8th, which was that Saturday already. And the thing that's interesting with hockey for both men and women is that those events are being, would you consider it live from Sochi? So I know the men's games are between 7:30 in the morning. I know that's when all of the men's games are right now. And if you're watching Team Canada closely, they're mostly on at noon coming up, if you're thinking about the men. But for women's hockey, their next game is Wednesday, the 12th, 7:30 in the morning. If you're looking to get up early against Canada, that should be a really interesting game for the U.S. women.
I just can't do those early morning games. There's no way. I've never been a morning person, and I mean, I love hockey, but sleep is a little bit more important to me, especially when you're in college.
I haven't seen any of the reruns on yet, though. It's like they're only broadcasting hockey at the 7:30 times and not replaying it at all. Because I've been watching for it when I've been able to have a little bit of a chance, and it's like they're only on right in those morning time slots where if you're in college and it's the weekend, you don't want to get up, and when you have to be up, you're really not thinking about the Olympics. I mean, maybe you're thinking about the Olympics, but for the moment...
Just because I'm thinking about the Olympics does not mean I'm going to roll out of bed at 7:30 to watch them.
And Chris, you brought up this point, kind of transitioning from women's hockey to men's hockey. the general manager issue for the United States men's team for the Olympics.
Yeah, there was an incident the other day at practice where the GM David Pauly got hit in the face by a puck actually, and he had to sort of go to the hospital. And they've said that sort of it's probably best if he does not sort of travel to Sochi. So that's hopefully sort of he gets back in good care and rests in Nashville. So for the
There's
second
another
half of the
familiar
season.
face from Pittsburgh then joining the men's team instead.
Yeah, Ray Sherrod, the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins, is going to be acting as general manager. So obviously a good connection he has there with Dan Bylsma. So it's sort of almost like Pittsburgh Penguins take on Canada, hopefully in the gold medal match.
Definitely a high Pittsburgh influence over in Sochi right now. I mean,
hadn't seen that yet today.
actually, I thought this was kind of interesting. I was on Twitter earlier today while I was watching the rerun of the women's game, and I noticed that the Los Angeles Kings Twitter account tweeted an article that they had written about Jeff Carter being in the Olympics, and the Penguins actually responded to the tweet with almost kind of bragging a little bit about his company, on the first line there for Canada. And I don't know, there was kind of like some snarky comments going back and forth. I love the PR staff or whoever runs the Twitter account for the Kings, and I mean they were right on top of it. I was very impressed. I was laughing along with those tweets today. So definitely enjoying the social media interaction that's going along with these games.
And Dan Bylsma was experimenting today with the lines for the US team. It doesn't look like anything's in place yet, but just sort of experimenting to see who has the best chemistry with each other, and sort of going forward, sort of in the group stages, you'll probably have a different lineup for most games, see which line clicks and which line doesn't, and then when you sort of get into those later rounds, you'll probably go with the same 4 lines, hopefully every game, minus injuries.
Who's starting for the U.S. for the men? Who do you have?
At the moment, the starting lineup looks like it's probably going to be the first line. The first line, they actually experimented with quite a few people today. They're talking about sort of Dustin Brown of the Kings, Kane, and Kessler, who they had 4 years ago. That's obviously not going to be the same, but they're thinking maybe of sticking with the same line. They were on fire 4 years ago, so hopefully they can do the same this year. But sort of no definite names as far as the lineup set, because there's just so many sort of different lineups they had today.
If you guys were to make an educated guess, who do you think is Bylsma's going to have starting in net for Game 1?
I would probably go Jonathan Quick. I know Ryan Miller's one of the more popular names.
You wouldn't start Miller?
Miller's been playing well, but I just feel like he's had so many. I know that Buffalo team this year isn't a great team, but the games which I've watched, he's had so many top-notch saves, but also he's let his guard down a bit too. I'd probably go with someone that's had a bit more sort of probably confidence. I know these players are good enough to forget the previous game. Sort of so many of them get benched during a game and come back the next and have shutouts. So it's probably going to be between Miller and Quick, but I like Quick's been great in the last 2 postseasons with the Kings, so I'd probably go with the hot hand.
I don't know. It's almost kind of like a gut feeling. I kind of feel like I would go with Ryan Miller. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I know he's kind of known for the last Olympics in Vancouver, and not known in a good way per se. But I don't know. I kind of feel like because of the way the last Olympics ended, that he's
Did
probably
they end so bad though for the U.S.
I mean, I'm not saying that silver is bad. I mean, first of all, you get picked to go to the Olympics. That's a huge honor in itself. Like, you're representing your country. Second of all, you placed, like, you medaled. I mean,
would you experiment with the goaltenders early on? Have maybe Miller start the first game and then Quick the second game, and then see who plays the best out of those two?
I mean,
or would you stick with the one goalie throughout the entire Olympics?
See, I don't think I would stick with one. I mean, I'm a big fan of trying, different people in different positions, especially when you have a team like an Olympic team, because you basically have a team full of all-stars here. So the best way that you're going to win games is, when you... The most common thing that I hear about all-star teams is that, like, each one of these players, they can do so many cool things on their own, but in order to win games, they got to come together as a team. So I feel like while they're still testing the waters, they really haven't had a whole lot of time to practice. I mean, the Penguins were still in Pittsburgh playing the Rangers during the opening ceremonies. So I would think the smartest decision would be to kind of test out your goaltenders, test out your linesmen, and just kind of see who works well with what, and just go from there. I mean, I know you might risk that going into you're going straight into the games, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's better to do that than, ride 1 or 2 players for so long and then risk burning them out.
That's a good point.
All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be talking about the successes and what might have went wrong with the Stadium Series. So if you're listening, hold on tight. We will be right back.